is up, people? What is up? And we are live, and we have my special guest, my friend. Should I say your name? I'll just say Justin.
Yeah, yeah, sure, whatever. That's
Wel-
fine.
Welcome to The Other Kind, and today we are getting into a very interesting topic. We are talking about the Mokele-Mbembe, the one that stopped the flow of rivers, which is a badass name.
No, yeah, doesn't his name translate to like river monster or something?
Well, it translates to the one who stops rivers.
That's very cool. That is some like force of nature bull crap.
That is some force of nature. And so a little bit about my friend. He's into paleontology. I'm not going to say which college he goes to.
No, yeah, I'm studying for a focus in I'm doing earth sciences with a focus in paleontology. So I may have some level of like I don't know, I had some level of interest in talking about this because this kind of relates to that. It's reportedly a living sauropod, so
potentially that would be incredible. And I was just listening to a interview George Norrie of Coast to Coast gave with a French she was part of a documentary with Michel Ballon, who's from France and has been tracking this thing for years.
Huh.
And
actually, don't a lot of like French explorers go looking for this thing? I feel like that's a common that's a common thing that happens.
Well,
I mean, obviously everyone looks for it, but you know.
Yeah, but the first Westerners who heard about were a group of French missionaries in 1776, and there's a documentary I would like us to react to. I think I sent you it once.
You might have, but I don't remember if I saw it or not.
All right, let me get this up. It's we'll react to it, give it some commentary, so we can add to it. I know that I've been giving a lot more commentary to my videos in the wake of what happened with XQC and how he just played that documentary on the JFK assassination, didn't give any commentary. He was pretty much just stealing content.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, so let's pretend
you're not focused in this drama.
I am not invested in like internet drama at all, honestly.
Definitely. I just kind of laugh at it. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to talk about internet drama, or else we'd be on TMZ.
No, this ain't no. Is Keemstar still relevant? Can I reference that?
Yes, he is very relevant.
Yeah, this ain't no fucking drama alert or whatever. I never watched that, so.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, let's get the documentary up.
Let me get it up. Let me just play it. There. All right, here.
Oh, there it is.
But it was a different story in the remote jungles of the world, particularly in equatorial Africa. Many of the early accounts of the flora and fauna of West and Central Africa came from missionaries and explorers. In 1776, the Abbé Levain Bonaventure Proyar wrote in the history of Congo, Kakanga, and other kingdoms in Africa about a group of French missionaries who had found the tracks of an enormous unknown animal in the jungle.
You want me to pause? Just tell me when you want me to pause.
I'm good. So wait, is the idea like they were this is like an account of an account, basically? Like
this is what. So I guess what happened was these French missionaries, they went into Africa, which is a common thing. I mean, this is 1776.
Everyone was exploring Africa at that time. There's a race for it.
U.S. declared independence from Great Britain. This goes on for historical context.
Well, yeah, everyone was kind of exploring Africa at the time. I guess this was bound to happen.
They're trying to spread the word of God, and they come across these footprints, these French missionaries, and they go to ask the
like natives, the local chieftains of like a village in the area.
What is this? And that's where it starts. And this is just them, I guess, after they went back to France, they told this to their higher ups.
Oh, okay, that makes
probably
but it's like a direct account. All right, we can continue. I'm cool.
Pinkerton's translation, published in 1914.
And the translation was published later on, like centuries later in 1914.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Reads, "It must be monstrous. The prints of its claws are seen upon the earth and formed an impression on it of about 3 feet in circumference. In observing the posture and disposition of the footprints, they concluded that it did not run this part of the way and that it carried its claws at a distance of 7 or 8 feet, one from the other."
Kind
Do you?
of like visualize that.
Yes.
Pretty interesting.
Continue.
"Prints this large could only have been made by an animal the size of an elephant, but elephants do not possess clawed toes. What kind of monster was it? New clues were to come as more reports began to emerge from Africa about this mystery monster. Alfred Aloysius Smith, otherwise known as Trader Horn, was an ivory trader in Central Africa, plying his trade along the river
Very
system of the
respectable job, I see.
Cameroon.
Look at that beard.
Oh my god, everyone had beards at the time. It was just, you'd be naked with that one.
Yeah, I'm always thinking back to, remember that guy I showed you, Jack Murphy?
Oh, was that the
He had the
Civil War
dwarf
general
beard.
who had like, oh yeah, never mind that
He
guy.
wrote a book called Trader Horn, a young man's astounding adventures in 19th century equatorial Africa, detailing his journeys into jungles teeming with buffalo, gorillas, man-eating leopards, serpents, and headhunters. Aye, and behind the Cameroons there's things living we know nothing about. I could have made books about many things. The Jaganini, they say, is still in the swamps and rivers. Giant diver, it means. Comes out of the water and devours people. Old men will tell you what their grandfathers saw, but they still believe it's there. Same as the Amali, I've always taken it to be. I've seen the Amali's footprint, about the size of a good frying pan in circumference.
That's pretty big.
I mean, a frying pan is about like an elephant's foot size.
Like you're not going, like the biggest frying pan I have, you wouldn't use to fry an egg unless you're making a really big egg omelet.
I mean, well, that's when you're frying for like the whole family, so.
Yes.
Right.
And that is a big animal, so, and they mentioned that these big print, they had claws.
Yeah, they keep saying claws, and that's very interesting because I don't think that's brought up in later reports once the more like modern interpretation of the creature was sort of agreed upon.
It has been. No, it has been. There's actually one from like the early 2000s. There's a video they're going to show later on in this about that. So let's continue.
3 claws instead of 5. In 1909, German naturalist Carl Hagenbeck recounted in his autobiography how 2 different explorers, a German named Hans Schomburg and an English hunter, both described a monster that was half elephant, half dragon, which lived in the Congo swamps. Joseph Menges, another naturalist, told Hagenbeck that some kind of dinosaur, akin to the Brontosaurus, lived in the swamp.
That's what they used to call it back in the day.
Well, the Brontosaurus? Actually, it's a big story behind like the Brontosaurus naming scheme. It's very messy.
Yeah, it's very messy. I did some research. The Brontosaurus, people who do know, the Brontosaurus really doesn't exist. It's the Apatosaurus.
That is actually being contested these days. We're kind of going back and forth. Like maybe Brontosaurus was distinct enough. It's just the side effects of like a lot of those Bone Wars BS dinosaur species that like Cope and Martian made up to get one-ups on each other. It's really weird and it's a lot to get into.
Yeah, it's a lot. Let's continue.
What, did they?
What?
Did they actually describe it as a dinosaur all the way back then? Like, I thought we didn't really have much knowledge.
Dinosaur was created in the mid 19th century.
Yeah. So, was this like 1850 or so then?
No, this is what they're. So around the time that we're at is around 1909.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I missed that. Sorry.
That's all right. It can be hard to miss. You can miss that stuff.
Yeah.
Hagenbeck sent an expedition to the Congo to search for the monster, but the effort was quickly aborted due to disease and hostile natives. Hans Schomburg, an animal tracker in the employ of Hagenbeck, also recounted to Hagenbeck that hippopotami were absent from Lake Bangweulu in Zambia.
I think that's pretty interesting, and that's not in the Congo. This is down So near southern Africa.
There weren't hippo in the water there? I thought hippos
No.
were all over Africa.
No, and later when they go in and talk about more accounts, the natives allegedly say that these creatures drove the hippopotamus out.
That is strange, actually.
Which is hippos. Nothing gets in the way of hippos.
I think we've agreed that like they're actually one of the most dangerous animals on the planet. So
yeah, lions don't mess with them. Crocs, if a croc messes
too big.
with them, they
get bitten in half.
They get torn to shreds. Bull sharks, even.
Bro, which honestly, I know I might as well set this up now. I will openly admit to being a bit of a skeptic to a lot of these topics. I just want to like
That's all right.
Clear on that for the audience.
That's why we brought you as a different perspective.
Yeah, I feel like the idea that this creature that supposedly is just like a scaled down sauropod could have messed with hippos is a little ludicrous. Like, I mean, I know. Sorry. The main advantage that like a lot of sauropods has, they're so big, nothing fucked with them.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're down to like relatively smaller, I feel like hippos could take them on. They probably would have scared them away, if anything.
And there's actually another cryptid in which it's the Mokele-Mbembe. It's something starts with an E.
Yeah, that's going to be next episode.
Yeah, Mokele-Mbembe, and apparently the natives say it looks. When they brought a photo of a triceratops to the natives pointed to that. And this thing allegedly kills elephants that get away.
Yeah, there's a lot of like there are a lot of stories of dinosaurs in the Congo.
Yeah, like a triceratops could definitely screw up it could definitely fuck up a hippopotamus.
I have again, even my take on the whole sauropod situation is a bit speculative since we don't know everything about these animals. Personally, I do think a triceratops could kick a hippo's ass, but we'd have to see if we ever got like Jurassic Park.
That's a conversation for another day.
I'm gonna think about that in my own time, actually.
Good.
The natives said this was because of the fearful monster which inhabited the lake. Hagenbeck, who was director of the Hamburg Zoo, has been acclaimed as one of the greatest animal collectors of all time. In his book, Beasts and Men, published in 1912, he wrote, "On the walls of certain caverns in Central Africa, there are to be found actual drawings of this strange creature. From what I have heard of the animal, it seems to me that it can only be some kind of dinosaur, seemingly akin to the Brontosaurus.
Could we back up a little bit to that cave painting or whatever that was? Yeah. Where was
here?
That's probably a giraffe. I'm gonna be real.
It does look like a giraffe.
Yeah.
Just the person who drew it clearly needs art skill.
Wrong. What am I saying?
Yeah.
No.
Though what I will say is this is that body though. That is the shape. That's a
round fellow. That is a round fellow. I mean, to be fair, they're all kind of round, so like it could. I mean, with art like this, it's always very abstract.
Yeah, it's kind of always up to interpretation.
Yeah, it's too loose to be any real concrete evidence. So it could be anything. I'll admit that.
Strange creature.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's all right. That's normal. That's normal. I do that a lot.
I just wanted to just make a conversation.
In 1913, the German government decided to survey its then colony of Cameroon and chose Captain Friar von Stein Zelausnitz to lead the expedition. Von Stein included the following fascinating report on a creature, quote, very much feared by the Negroes of certain parts of the territory of Congo.
Yes. Yes.
1912, I guess.
That 1913.
Not much better, but
not definitely. I'm just saying because that's the year they went to survey.
Sanga, and the Mokele-Mbembe rivers.
Threw me off a little.
They called the animal Mokele-Mbembe. The animal is said to be of a brownish gray color, its size approximating that of an elephant. It is said to have a long and very flexible neck. Some spoke of a long, muscular tail like that of an alligator. Canoes coming near it are said to be doomed. The animals are said to attack the vessels at once and to kill the crews, but without eating the bodies. The creature is said to live in the cave.
Sorry, I was just saying, like, I really like a lot of the artwork depicting this creature. It's
Yeah.
very interesting to look at.
A lot of people, there's actually some people who don't think it's an Apatosaurus, but a Diplodocus.
Oh, Diplodocus.
Yeah,
I mean,
because they have
a lot of
those.
the
Yeah.
spines, yeah. Well, actually, a lot of different sauropods had like
Yeah.
similar things. I mean, some were like a lot of them had growths, I guess you can call them. Like
Yeah,
my
and the
personal
thing is,
favorite, my personal favorite is the Saltosaurus because it has these little like hard bumps on it that are like body armor almost.
yeah, and I don't think
That's not here
we
or there.
discovered that sauropods, well, the male ones, had these spikes until recently.
Well, I think it was a species by species thing. Like not all of them had them.
Yeah, makes sense.
It does.
Washed out by the river in the clay of its shores at sharp bends. It is said to climb the shore even in daytime in search of its food. Its diet is said to be entirely vegetable. Unfortunately, the outbreak of World War I curtailed any further exploration of the area by von Stein, and he was obliged to return to Europe. One can only speculate what other evidences of Mokele-Mbembe might have been discovered if he had continued with his expedition.
That's tragic to think.
But also not the first time dinosaurs were fucked over by a world war. You ever hear about like the British Museum
Yes.
getting bombed?
Yes,
And we like
it
lost
was
our only
Munich.
sample of
Yeah, the Munich
Spinosaurus.
Museum got bombed during. It had a Spinosaurus skeleton, like
It
the
was
only
like-
complete one.
I think it was the only one we had for the longest time, and we just kind of
Yeah,
lost that, man. We're
Yeah,
still unsure what Spinosaurus looked like because of that.
yeah. April. It was April the 24th into the 25th of 1944. The British
Oh.
bombed.
Yeah, that's
What?
really unfortunate.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, British.
I mean, to be completely fair, it was to attack the Nazis. I think
Yes,
it's
it was.
justifiable.
I'm just joking.
It just sucks that we lost that.
It does
Yeah.
suck. Let's continue though.
Yeah.
In 1932, Scottish explorer Ivan Sanderson and American naturalist Gerald Russell were on an animal collecting expedition in northern Cameroon.
Oh, by the way, that's not the last time war is gonna fuck over a dynasty, over
Fuck over
expedition.
Mokele-Mbembe or just dinosaurs
War's
in
just
general?
gonna fuck over an expedition. In the 1990s, the Congo Civil War halted a lot of exploration.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about that one actually.
Yeah, actually, and there's a clip I would like to play, but I'm not because I'd get a strike. It's a Joe Rogan experience clip.
All right, well.
I wish I could.
Well, I mean, if it's already out there, people can find it. So.
Yeah, you'll probably watch it later. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, thanks. I can do.
When they
That'll
came
do.
to Momfe Pool on the Mainyu River, the cliff-like riverbanks at this location had many caves, some partially submerged. The travelers reported a loud disturbance as of fighting beasts, followed by an ear-splitting roar of some monster. Sanderson also briefly glimpsed the back of something larger than a hippopotamus breaking the surface, before quickly.
I will say that's hard to measure.
Well, yeah. No, if something's like 90% submerged, that could be anything. That's why Nessie sightings are so varied.
Yeah. Only problem with this is in the Congo River, it's some areas are not as wide as Loch Ness.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's just kind of an example of getting at. Honestly, this one sounds like it probably could have just been like an elephant or something breaching.
There are forest elephants which are much smaller than the savanna elephants.
Yeah, no, elephants have more variety than people think they do.
Yeah, definitely.
There used to be a lot more species though.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was like no, never mind.
In the murky river. Upstream, near the confluence of the Cross River, they came upon vast hippo-like tracks, although there were no hippopotami in the area. Sanderson was informed.
This is the thumbnail. Oh.
Sorry, I got someone's calling for me real quick. I'll be back in a sec. You can keep watching it. I'm good.
Guy.
This creature called Mokele-Mbembe drove the hippos away. In 1937, the publication Discovery.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
An article by Captain William
No, that's all right. That happens to me sometimes.
No, yeah.
Hitchens entitled African Mystery Beasts. In a section on colossal lizards, it reported, other accounts speak of a gigantic lizard with a neck like a giraffe, legs like an elephant's, a small snake-like head, and a tail 30 feet long. Several white hunters have
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If you notice, like as time goes forth and more people come to the area and explore, the description becomes a lot more directly like, oh yeah, it was a sauropod, instead of the sort of vague thing the first accounts had.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that might be a
obviously,
level of like confirmation bias as like tales get passed around. It sort of
definitely.
people
It
understand
definitely.
it. I could probably go into that more later, but
Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
definitely could.
Yeah, there's a lot to say here.
asserted that they have tracked what must be such beasts, and the Smithsonian Institution some years ago sent an expedition to locate the animal. But the project, unfortunately, met with disaster and never arrived in the field of search. A year later, in 1938, Dr. Leo von Boxberger, who was colonial magistrate with considerable African experience, conducted an expedition into the interior of Cameroon. He also picked up reports of a large unidentified animal living in the waters. Most of his notes on this subject were lost when his expedition was attacked by members of the Pangwe tribe in Spanish Guinea. However, on the subject of the equatorial monsters, he wrote, my own contribution to the subject is unfortunately very small. At the mouth of the Mbam in Sanaga in central Cameroons and on the Ntem in southern Cameroons, I collected a variety of data from the natives about the mysterious water beast. All I can report is the name Mokele-Mbembe given to the animal in southern Cameroons. The belief in a gigantic water animal described as a reptile with a long, thin neck exists among the natives in the southern Cameroons, wherever they form part of the Congo basin, and also to the west of this area, doubtless where the great rivers are broad and deep and are flanked by virgin forest.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that they continue that depending on who goes there and who talks to the locals around there, the name actually changes a little bit.
Yeah.
It is kind of an interesting I see that as almost sort of a passing of culture thing, like as this concept exists amongst the Congo natives longer, sometimes they change it up a little bit due to, I don't know, mistranslation or something.
Probably
I think
because
it's very interesting, actually.
lots of languages in that.
No, yeah, the Africa's got a ton of languages.
Mhm.
They're all fairly distinct.
Yes.
10 years later, in 1948, A.S. Airy was swimming at Lake Mokele-Mbembe near Kumba, northern Cameroon.
This is probably one of the weirder ones
Really?
and more interesting ones that isn't reported. So just
What
bear
day
with
is this
it.
one? No, I'll listen.
While keeping some visiting British soldiers company. Without warning, the water at the center of the lake began to stir, as if being disturbed from below. As everyone hastily exited the water, two strange long-necked creatures broke the surface. The first animal to appear had a long neck, about 12 to 15 feet, ending in a small, slender head that sported a spike of some kind at the top.
Wow,
A second, slightly smaller, long-necked animal also made an appearance, but without a spike or horn. The locals later claimed that the hornless animal was a female. As Airy recalled, some of the...
I'm sorry, did you say the horn was beaming?
No.
Oh, what do you say about the horn? I missed.
The horn was on the top of the.
Yeah.
So this is the depictions.
Inside your lake, there are two Mokele-Mbembes.
Soldiers fled the scene, but others stayed and kept the two strange animals under observation. The animals were again typical of Mokele-Mbembe in appearance, but on this occasion, snake-like scales were observed on the monsters.
You want to comment about that?
Well, is this in relation to like real sauropods? I don't believe that a lot of dinosaurs actually had scales in the way a lot of modern reptiles have them. So that could be like, yeah. Well, they said snake-like, so Lord knows it could be just a snake that they didn't see the whole body of.
Hmm. I mean, I couldn't
know.
blame them from not wanting to see the whole thing. That must have been absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's ever going to say like, "Hey, you survived an attack from 2 giant reptiles. Go back there and get a better look at them." No one's going to say that. I get that.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
This matches more recent reports of the larger, mature animals possessing toughened skin like a caiman. The spike on the top of the head is also suggestive of sexual dimorphism.
Huh.
Extinct sauropods such as the Diplodocus are now known to have had dermal spikes up to 9 inches in length. The locals call these animals jaganini, meaning giant diver, as reported by Trader Horn in his book in 1927.
Interesting. What?
Real quick, I think again with my thing that I'm again skeptic moment.
That's all
I
right.
think the fact that the spikes showing up only after paleontologists discovered this sexual dimorphism, the spikes in actual Diplodocus. I think that might be another knock against this being a real creature.
It could
because
be.
like you feel like that would be brought up at some point. Like it feels like the story kind of changes a little the more we learn about the actual extinct animal, which is a bit of a red flag for me.
It is a red flag.
Yeah.
Locals further stated that the animals rarely left the water and were seen infrequently, which again ties in favorably with Mokele-Mbembe. Very little was heard of Mokele-Mbembe until 1976, when herpetologist James Powell from Texas traveled to Gabon to study rainforest crocodiles. Powell picked up stories from the Fang people about an enormous river monster called Nyamala, and a local witch doctor named Mokele-Mbembe picked out a picture of the Diplodocus from a book on dinosaurs as being a dead ringer for the Nyamala,
I don't think that's the
which he
same
saw
picture.
exit a jungle pool in
Well, yeah.
1946.
Honestly,
Powell
the fact
later
that they
conveyed this.
I think it's. I don't know why I keep saying I think it's interesting, but like, it's interesting that a lot of these guys kind of come to the Congo with these books about dinosaurs and just show them to the locals, like, "Hey, that's what you saw, right?"
Interesting,
Like,
but they also bring like photos of grizzly bears.
oh, well, I mean, I guess those actually would be just as exotic to the people of the area. They don't have any of those around there.
No, and the locals will usually confirm that no, we do not see any grizzly bears. There are no bears in Africa, I believe.
There are none, no. I think there used to be, though.
Yeah, there used to be the Atlas bear.
I've not actually heard about that. Was that like an Ice Age era creature? Kind of sounds like one of those.
I think you can blame the Romans for their extinction.
That sounds likely. All right, so
Information to Dr. Roy P. Mokele, a biologist from the University of Chicago and vice president of the International Society of Cryptozoology. In 1980, Mokele and Powell traveled to the People's Republic of the Congo to investigate Mokele-Mbembe activity, which Mokele believed would be centered in the Likuala region, a huge area of seasonally inundated swamps that was left blank on most maps. In the northern town of Mfondo, situated on the Ubangi River, Mokele and Powell met with the Reverend Eugene Thomas from Ohio, a missionary who had served in the Congo since 1950.
He just explained why the people from Ohio were there. Never mind.
Thomas had heard many stories about Mokele-Mbembe and sent out for first-hand eyewitnesses who had seen the monster. At first, Mokele was reluctant to believe that he was on the trail of a living dinosaur. Yet each witness was absolutely emphatic that the illustrations of the Apatosaurus and Diplodocus in Mokele's book on dinosaurs were dead ringers for the Mokele-Mbembe.
I mean, I guess that's why because he was a skeptic.
Oh yeah, no, it does lend a level of credibility that a skeptic went in and was slowly convinced, like, yeah, maybe there is some credence to this. But so I'll give them that much. I'm never gonna deny that.
Yeah,
but a lot of other people that go there kind of go like, this is kind of a problem cryptozoology has as a whole. A lot of people go looking for creatures expecting to find it, like dead set on it with no sense of skepticism. So like there's kind of a level of confirmation bias that comes up. Like, why would this I don't know, why would some strange claw marks on the tree be, I don't know, a bear when it might be Bigfoot? If you're looking for Bigfoot,
Mhm.
that's always going to be there's always going to be that bias in like the cryptozoology field, which kind of makes it makes it hard to like
Yeah,
tell what's real and what isn't. So
yeah, it's detrimental.
it really is, yeah.
Let's continue though.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All
No, it's
eyewitnesses
good.
agreed that Mokele-Mbembes live in the rivers, streams, and swampy lakes, and that they are rare and dangerous. Time ran out for Mackerel and Powell, and they headed back to the U.S., tantalized by the reports. Mackerel returned to the Congo in 1981 with a larger team, and this time headed south on the Likwala-Ourbis River. He attempted to reach the remote Lake Tele, a small, shallow body
This
of
is
water.
supposed to be like the big hot spot, Lake Tele.
Huh. Seems like all the lakes kind of have Mokele sightings.
Yeah. Honestly, though, it's really pretty out there, and
I have heard that like the jungles on Africa are absolutely beautiful, and I would love to see them one day.
mhm.
Water situated in the heart of the swamp, where at least one Mokele-Mbembe was reportedly speared to death by the Bagombe pygmies in 1960.
You've heard of this story about the Bagombe?
What did a tribe spear a Mokele to death?
Yes, this is the art depiction of it.
I've never heard of that, but that's a very interesting story if there's
And
any more evidence than just word of mouth.
and allegedly they ate the meat, and the people who ate the meat ended up dying. Like there's a lot of these locals who ended up dying.
Oh, they're like there was something in the meat that just
Like
wasn't
it,
meant for consumption.
yes.
Huh.
So I guess no dino meat.
Yeah, I've heard. I don't actually know what dino meat would have tasted like. I
Yeah,
don't think anyone can safely say.
We'll just stick to the dino nuggets.
I mean, technically it is dinosaurs since chickens are birds.
True.
As a vestige of the true self exists in the false self. Have you ever seen that image? Like,
No, I
it's a
have
meme
not.
I have on my phone. I'm gonna send you that later. That's one of my favorite memes.
All
All
right, let's continue.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the narrow water channels that led to the lake from the unexplored Bai River were jammed with fallen trees, making passage impossible with heavy dugout canoes. One flood of excitement occurred when the expedition was rounding a river bend just south of the town of Ipena. A large creature had abruptly submerged near the far bank, producing an 18-inch high wave that buffeted Mackerel's canoe. Crocodiles do not leave such a wake, and hippos that do are not present in the area, for they have all been chased away by Mokele-Mbembe.
Just look at that photo. I'm sorry, that photo of that hippo was hilarious.
Hippos are kind of cute. I'm gonna be real. It's just when they open their mouth that they become terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the video of somebody just placing a watermelon and then the hippo crushes
It
it?
just crushes it like it's nothing. Yeah, that's
ASMR.
insane. Yeah.
Hippo ASMR.
Are not
hippo
present in
ASMR
the
like
area,
that.
for they have all been chased away by Mokele-Mbembes, according to the pygmies. Scottish explorer Bill Gibbons conducted his first expedition to the Congo from November 1985 to May 1986. Although the expedition was delayed in Brazzaville for several weeks by the corrupt, slow-motion bureaucratic system, American missionary Pastor Thomas graciously used his contacts in the various government departments to help them get underway. They eventually reached Lake Tele after a challenging 5-day slog through the forest, where they observed gorillas, chimpanzees, large pythons, crocodiles, and turtles, but no large monster. They also found that the fear of Mokele-Mbembe was considerable among the rural Congolese, which made information gathering very difficult at times.
Yeah, it's like there's some supernatural element among these natives. Well, according to the natives, that you do not talk about, or else you're going to die.
Well, yeah, but what's the last century or so of stories been? It's just been natives telling stories about the Mokele-Mbembe till whatever traveler shows up.
Yeah, I guess in this
So I don't.
specific tribe.
It probably is like a tribe by tribe thing, but I
Yeah,
don't know. That kind of
because the
comes
ones in
off like
Cameroon,
they
they
just
freely talk about it.
no, yeah, yeah.
They're like, yeah, there's nothing supernatural, just a big old
It's a big
creature.
old animal, bro.
That's what they're
You know?
literally like. They just point to it and like, yeah, I just saw like you saw an elephant the other day.
Yeah, bro. That's exactly how they explain it. I guess it is. Uh, I'm always more interested in the cultural side of cryptozoology, and I think that is I think that specifically like the difference in ways they treat it is
That's
very fascinating.
is very fascinating, and that could be something we do in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
Their guides hunted daily and on one occasion shot a monkey that they were unable to identify. The remains, the skin and head, were preserved in formaldehyde and later presented to the British Museum of Natural History in London, England. The monkey was later classified as a new subspecies of crestless manga bay monkey. Gibbons returned to the Congo in November 1992 to deliver emergency medical supplies to a missionary clinic in Mfondo run by Jean and Sandy Thomas. On this occasion, Gibbons and his team headed north on the unexplored Bai River and pushed its way northwest through dense swamps, where they found two small lakes that were not even on the maps. Once again, the native guides were fearful of remaining in the area, and the exploration of the swamps was cut short. Although many of the inhabitants of the Likuala region know exactly where a specimen of Mokele-Mbembe can be readily observed and filmed, they believe that to speak openly of the animals to white outsiders means death. There was nothing more than fear and superstition that was stopping Gibbons from.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
But they're like they're very fearful of the creature according to these reports.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Huh. That's
Let's
interesting.
continue.
Making a major discovery. In 1994, a civil war broke out in the Congo, scotching any possibility of a third expedition there. At this point, Gibbons began to look for an alternative location in Central Africa in order to continue his search, and decided to take another look at Cameroon. The south of the country, which borders the Congo, has scarcely been explored, and is still rich in lush forests, swamps, and deep, broad rivers, just as Friar von Stein had described it in 1913. In November 2000, Gibbons traveled to Cameroon with Dave Wetzel from Concord, New Hampshire. They teamed up with Pierre Sima, a Cameroonian national, who worked with an American missionary team and hunted regularly in the jungle with the Baka pygmies. After purchasing additional supplies, Gibbons, Wetzel, and Sima headed south on some of the worst roads imaginable.
Yeah, this is
Very off-road, huh?
mm-hmm. If you've ever watched the Monster Quest, and they actually reference that Monster Quest episode.
Oh, in this video?
Yeah, in this video, just watch the Monster Quest on the Mokele-Mbembe when you ever get a chance. Like for a good chunk of the episode, it's just them trying to get their van out of the mud.
They just get stuck, and that's like half the episode.
Well, not half.
God.
It's like a couple minutes, but it was.
Dude.
They thought they were going to be stuck there for like days.
Fair enough, man. This
and
road
they had
looks
to
like
recruit
hell.
like a local tribe to help get them out.
Damn.
That's awful.
Yeah. I guess we're in like we're close enough to the modern day. We have like full footage of this expedition. I see.
Yes. Oh, look at that. That's a salamander.
No, that was some kind of lizard. I don't think it was a salamander.
The team spent days on end slogging through waist-high swamp, going from one pygmy village to another. However, their efforts were rewarded with first-hand eyewitness accounts of Mokele-Mbembe activity dating from 1986 to April 2000. Although the Baka people refer to the animals as Mokele-Mbembe, they describe the animals exactly as the Kele pygmies in the Congo and confirmed that the monsters still inhabited the rivers, swamps, and streams of southern Cameroon. The pygmies also described the monster as having a series of dermal spikes running down the length of its neck, back.
Thing is, and I know you might say different, that I think that a lot of these people don't even know what a dinosaur is.
I don't know. I feel like I feel like the idea that that African tribes are completely separate from the outside world is a little outdated today. I think they're more. I think they understand more of what's going on than most people give them credit for.
Right, but
And I have a personal theory about some of this stuff that I may get into later after the video's over. So that kind of ties into that.
all right.
And tail. This surprised Gibbons and Wetzel, as this is a physical feature of sauropod dinosaurs that was unknown to paleontologists until 1991.
Yeah.
You want me
No,
wanted to
that's
make-
all right. We can keep going.
Additional information was also gathered about other strange animals that reputedly inhabit the forests and swamps, including a large quadruped armed with a heavy neck frill and up to 4 horns on its head. More native witnesses immediately picked out a picture of the Triceratops as
like I'd have to do that myself because even I'm a little like
What, the idea that the Triceratops is out
Well,
there too?
not the idea, just how they're describing it.
Yeah, it kind of comes off more as like they're just telling the guys what they want to hear or something.
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean,
That's what
I don't
that's
know,
what it sounds like
maybe-
from the name. I think the
Maybe-
natives are fucking with them a little.
Possibly, but or maybe the natives are telling. We don't know.
Well, you never know. I mean, that's the problem with with stories that are almost in like that's the problem with a creature that is almost exclusively known about from like secondhand accounts of people who say they witnessed it, but have
Yeah,
no proof of it. So
it's hard.
that's the main issue with this creature.
being a dead ringer for this animal, which was reputed to kill and disembowel elephants. Gibbons and Wetzel were also surprised to find that, unlike the pygmies of the Congo, the Baka pygmies of Cameroon do not attach any supernatural or mythical beliefs to the mystery animals of southern Cameroon, and were happy to answer all the questions presented to them, thus providing a great deal of information about the suspected dinosaurs. As a test, the team showed the pygmies pictures of other animals, such as the North American bear, which they
As
did
we
not
said earlier.
recognize, thus establishing a measure of accuracy and truthfulness in their reporting. Enthralled by their progress, the team returned home greatly
I
motivated.
mean, I'm sure if they said that, oh, we've seen that, the team would have known, oh, yeah, these people are
Well, no,
fucking with us.
that was definitely like a lie detector testing there. But again, I have more confidence that a lot of very secluded tribes are more aware of these ideas. Like, even if they aren't, even if they were never like in contact with the outside world for most of their existence,
Mhm.
previous stories have showed that explorers usually will come here, show them this like crazy animal they've never heard of, and if you tell them, "Oh yeah, I've seen it. It's in the river over there," then the explorers will probably come back and I don't know, give them crap. Like
Yeah.
I think there is some level of just if a white they're like if the I think the tribe stories go like if a white man comes to you and asks you if you've seen a dinosaur, tell him you have. Like, there's a level. I think there's some level of that going on with all this.
That would be hilarious. That would be the
Yeah.
ultimate trolling.
I don't think I don't think it started like early on. I think at first it was kind of a truthful thing, like maybe they just misinterpreted stuff, or I don't know what was going on early on.
I have a
It definitely
reaction.
feels like as it goes on, they are essentially just doing it for tourism from curious white explorers.
I have a reaction to that.
What is it?
I have that saved.
Well, the local Cameroonian villagers seeing another explorer get lost in the woods after they said Triceratops exist there.
Oh my god, that reminds me of that Joe Rogan. I gotta send that to you because
any clips you're talking about now, you can send me later. I'll watch them.
because I don't, because if I were to play that, I'd get hit instantly.
Is Joe Rogan like
Created by the
uppity
They-
about that, or
They're very, yeah, his team is very strict about that.
that's unfortunate to hear.
That's
but
unfortunate. It's with
whatever.
a lot of YouTubers. Like, I know
Yeah.
iShowSpeed and Ian Ross are also pretty strict about criticism of them and will take down any criticism of them.
I don't know who those are, but that sounds like it sucks.
Yeah.
knowledge that important progress had been made in the search for Mokele-Mbembe. In February 2002, Gibbons returned to Cameroon with a 4-man Christian expedition. Much valuable time was lost due to problems in finding suitable transportation. However, they did make it back into the target area. Again, with the help of translator Pierre Sima, new eyewitnesses arrived and gave even more valuable information on Mokele-Mbembe and other mystery animals of the region. It was, however, the dry season and the river level was very low, and very little time was left for actual field research.
Hey, actually, wait,
Any
real quick.
chance?
Yeah.
If it was the dry season, the water level's lower, and Mokele-Mbembe is like known as a species to just swim around in the river, wouldn't it be easier to see them that way?
It would be, but
Yeah.
allegedly these things hide out in caves alongside the river.
Huh. Well,
That is interesting.
It's like the size of an elephant. That's pretty hard to hide. That's
That-
always been my issue with that's my issue with this one specifically. It's
I
a-
also have a hard time, like, how is this? Like, I also am try to comprehend, try to think about it.
Like, yeah, no, that's my main thing. I have that problem with a lot of cryptids, mainly this one because this is so much bigger than everything else. Like,
Like
you
with
could
the
reason, like
like
you could
with-
reasonly hide a chupacabra or something. That's
Or
like
a
the size of a
Sasquatch.
dog. Sasquatch, I'm a bit iffy on. That's another big boy, but I guess I could argue it. But Mokele-Mbembe is like elephant sized at minimum, and it's hard to hide an elephant.
it is hard to hide. One.
Yeah, yeah, that's my
Observing a
thoughts.
Mokele-Mbembe will only happen right at the end of the wet season, which is the best time to observe Mokele-Mbembes, according to almost all eyewitnesses. In November 2003, Gibbons returned again
What?
That was a school bus.
That was pretty much.
to Cameroon
How is
with
that
Brian
doing there?
Sass from
I guess I think that was just their transportation.
I mean, it probably works better. There's a lot of seats, but just very weird seeing that.
Very.
Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Along with Pierre Sima, the two men discovered a narrow stream on the Jaw River, isolated by a thick jungle island near the Congo side of the river. At least 5 caves, partially submerged in the river on the Congo bank, were visible, and the locals told the explorers that these were inhabited by at least 3 or 4 Mokele-Mbembes. The area was known as the Zone Interdite, or the Forbidden Zone. Gibbons and Sass had difficulty in keeping the same river guides to take them into the area, no matter how much money they offered. The Mokele-Mbembes, they were told, lived in that area, and it was a bad place for the natives to go. On the final exploration of the channel, Pierre Sima and the 2 native river guides observed a huge, football-shaped snake-like head attached to a thick neck, moving across
there
the
it is.
river about 100 feet ahead of
That's
their
well.
canoe.
There's no
There he
photos
is.
of this, but
There it is. It's Nessie.
mhm.
I don't know. I find it funny that like there's that the similarity of just little head on long neck popping out of water
Mhm.
shows up so many times across the world. Like, it's interesting too. I mean, that's a pretty easy shape to like just see in things, even if there's nothing there, and like a lot of animals resemble that. I don't know what I'm
Gibbons
talking
and
about. Now. I'm
Sass,
just going off
sitting
right
in the
now.
rear of the canoe, were unable to stand erect in the narrow canoe, lest the entire team end up in the fast-flowing channel. Later, when they all reached the safety of the riverbank, the 2 boatmen explained that they observed a huge animal walking across the river ahead of them. The river was at least 20 feet deep at the time, thus ruling out an elephant, crocodile, turtle, or a snake. as the strength of the river current would have affected the passage of these animals. In February 2004, Brian Sass returned to the Forbidden Zone with Peter Beach, a microbiologist from Portland, Oregon. The river by this time had dropped considerably, and the caves along the Congo side of the bank had been sealed up from within, with the mud becoming as hard as concrete.
Oh my
All right,
God.
This gets really interesting. This
Oh yeah,
The
I'm listening.
caves were filled with debris, with rocks and dirt. This is a fairly dense material. It wasn't sandy at all. It was more like cement. At any rate, we got on the one of these little outcroppings where the cave entrance was, and there were some holes, some large diggings. And we looked at those very closely, and we found that there were holes in those holes.
The expedition returned with plaster casts of the claws of the animal.
One of the plaster casts came out like this. Another one did too. Two or three of them look very similar. And that is essentially one digit.
you have any comments on that?
It is interesting to think about.
But
I don't really know how they. Personally, I don't know how essentially a sauropod could have basically made mud cement, but the claw marks are pretty interesting.
Do they
Especially
look
since it's not
accurate?
present. I looked at it. Really, it could have been anything, but it was definitely vaguely claw-shaped. I will not take that away from them. Like I see why they think it was that. I'm just a little skeptical on that.
on the hand of an animal. All right, as I was digging one of the plaster casts out, such as this.
Did they show a fossilized sauropod claw? My internet's being a little weird.
Yes.
That I'm pretty sure is a pretty outdated piece. I think generally speaking, we agree that
That does
sauropod claws are much more their sauropod feet are much more elephant-like than anything, so they didn't have traditional claws like that.
That's
So
interesting.
I don't think that I don't know. If Mokele-Mbembe has claws, it definitely just evolved those over time instead of
that would be interesting. Like if we do discover there's going to be what?
We already know that it's a lot smaller than an elephant, so I don't see. We already know it's a lot smaller than a normal sauropod, so they could absolutely explain this as, oh yeah, no, it probably evolved over the millions of years.
Definitely.
I don't see why it would ever need claws. There's no way this thing's gonna burrow. I mean, it's too big for that.
It is.
I was
Think of it like
digging one of the
weird.
plaster casts out, some such as this, was with my machete. Popped it out, and as I was scraping, I made quite a bit of noise. And I noticed as I pulled it out, I heard a scraping on the other side of the cave. It sounded like it was only a few feet away from me, maybe 2 or 3 feet. It sounded like it was hollow on the inside. And it sounded like there was something alive that was in there. I said to my partners, did you hear that? And Brian Sass, my other friend there, he said, no, he didn't hear. And Pierre said, yeah, I heard it. Get in the canoe. But my mind was on, well, let's dig it out. I had no idea how big this animal was, really. But Pierre was smart enough to get us back in the canoe, forced us to go across the river at that point and get back on the island and then observe. Nothing else happened there. So we started looking around that island, and we found on the island footprints, many footprints.
The impressions revealed that at least 2 adults and a juvenile animal, all as big as elephants, had been feeding in the immediate area, with leaves being stripped from the trees to a height of 18 feet. SEMA estimates that the animals were much bigger
Sorry, I'm just listening to that.
than elephants.
Yeah.
The footprint showed kind of didn't look like their proposed clawed foot, so I don't know what they're getting at there.
Yeah, that's very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. Could have honestly just been an elephant.
It could have been an elephant.
Yeah, every time they bring up elephants in this, I kind of get closer and closer to the conclusion of it's probably just an elephant. Like even when they're submerged, I mean, elephants have a habit of sticking their trunks up in the water to like breathe. So
Mhm.
that could easily be misinterpreted as Mokele's like head. Hell, isn't that what like half of the Nessie sightings were?
Nessie saying
Yeah, like no, the like an elephant sticking his trunk up from the water and like a little, I don't know, the top of its back is kind of shown
these
because
Mokele
swimming.
sightings,
I'm convinced that's what a lot of Mokele sightings are,
they probably
because
are.
that basic body shape could easily be mimicked by those two things.
Definitely.
With a head height of at least 18 feet, which is as tall as a male giraffe.
So
The footprints were approximately a foot wide. They obviously had pads. They had nails, toenails that were in there, and they were shaped in such a way, in a fan shape. There
yeah,
were
like an elephant.
3 footprints that went
Sorry.
1, 2, 3. So the overall shape was about like so, with 3, 2, 3. But each one of those had 3 nails, 3 nails, 3 nails. And then about 50 inches apart from that was another set, the same way. Now, Pierre is a tracker, and he told me what, after looking at this, and you could see he was puzzling through it, he said, well, what this animal is doing is it's moving its feet, and moving sideways, feeding up in the branches. Now, this was not a 3 giant-toed animal. This was an animal with a foot that's approximately a foot wide, that's maybe 18 inches long, that feeds up into the branches, probably on its hind feet, because we didn't see front feet. We just saw a pair of feet.
That's interesting.
Ooh, actually, that is interesting. I was going to say because that actually ties into a commonly speculated uh, behavioral thing that sauropods would do. Like sometimes they would just stand up on their hind legs to reach things or intimidate animals or something. It's
Hmm.
just speculated, but I think it's very interesting that ties in. Although again, that could be read as they're just adding new details that we know about real sauropods to this story about one. But
Yeah,
I don't know. There might be something there.
there might be, because obviously they're not thinking in the moment.
No,
Oh,
yeah, unless they're very quick on their feet with like making stuff up, which we should never put past someone.
you should never put
It's not
past.
hard to bullshit.
It is not.
I should know.
Mm-hmm.
I bullshit a lot. I will admit
We
it.
all do.
Yep.
Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes not.
Sometimes
We
because
didn't get
the
a
group in
picture
a
of the animal.
D&D game's going off the rails.
The animal was inside.
Lord knows I had to get good at that.
Inside
Yes.
the cave. Beyond that, we took pictures of the scratches. We took pictures of the plaster cast. We took pictures of the holes that were dug in. We took pictures of the cave entrance. We took pictures of where it had been feeding, and obviously something very large had eaten its way through the forest on the island, back into the island, about 60 feet or so. So we have evidence, but it's just not of the animal per se.
That's a good statement.
What do you say?
He said
Evidence, but it's back
Well,
into the
no,
island.
I heard what he said. I mean, like,
Of the
what do you
animal
mean by
per
that?
se.
that we have evidence, but of something that was there, but we don't know what it is. It could be anything.
No, yeah, I mean, like, based off all the evidence, honestly, it does feel all a little, I guess, disparate because the claws in the digging appear to have a different toe shape than the footprints. Uh, there's like the caves themselves seem, I don't know. Another issue I have is like, how is something that's supposedly 18 feet tall, or at least able to reach that height by standing on its hind legs, able to hide in a cave under the water level? Like that's a very tall order, ironically.
That is very
Yeah.
weird.
I don't know, the cave statement kind of comes off as like they just want a reason why they would probably not see a Mokele-Mbembe that day. Like, oh, they're hiding in their caves and they cemented themselves in.
There's
I don't
a.
know. That cave thing kind of draws away from the credibility to me.
We'd have to explore these caves.
Well, yes, but at the same time,
Prob-
in the what I believe is an unlikely chance we'll find it, we're also opening the cave to a elephant-sized dinosaur. So if it's real, I don't think they're coming back from that. Like, I don't think that explorer is going to come back.
No.
That's why we got to record it so we can
In
get
January
footage of the ship.
2006, Milt Marcy, an insurance broker from Portland, Oregon, traveled to the Jaw River in Cameroon near the Congolese border with his own team. Marcy, Peter Beach, Rob Mullen, and Pierre Sema spoke to witnesses that claimed to have observed the Mokele-Mbembe only 2 days before, but they did not discover the animal themselves. In March 2009,
where they mentioned the Monster Quest.
in the History Channel
right.
series Monster Quest,
There it is.
involved William Gibbons and his team and a two-man film crew from White Wolf Productions. It took place in Cameroon, in the region of the Jaw, Bumba, and Ngoko rivers near the border with the People's Republic of the Congo. The episode
Yeah, this is something really interesting they found during it.
What is
You know
that?
what this is?
It looks like a fish with its back half ripped off.
It's called an elephant fish.
Oh, I see that. What is that? Is it like a rare species in the area?
Yeah, it's a confirmed species, obviously,
Well, I can
but
tell
it's
they
a
have a photo
bottom
of it.
here. It likes a E on the bottom.
Oh yeah, probably because that's probably what you use that long mouth thing for. Like,
And it's
it doesn't
also
look like a bottom feeder.
It's also funny.
No, it's an incredibly funny species. He have snoot.
I want to know if you can own one.
Something tells me you probably can't. This seems like it'd be not allowed in the
An
exotic pet
exotic
trade.
species.
Yeah, you can't have exotic species that much.
Well, I just guess we'll have to vote for the Tiger King. He's running for president.
What the shit? Really?
Yes, Joe Exotic.
That is a very different issue that you should probably bring up in another
On Jared
stream.
Cast.
Jesus.
I will.
aired in the summer of 2009 and also featured an interview with Roy P. Mackle and Peter Beach of the Milt Marcy expedition 2006. While no sightings were reported on the expedition due to the advent of the dry season and low depth of the rivers, the team found evidence of a large underground cave with air vents and observed sonar readings of very long serpentine shapes underwater. The film crew also recorded the impressive zoologically accurate drawings made by several Mokele-Mbembe eyewitnesses that were clearly represented.
This is a hard one.
What do you mean by that?
This is hard because they could just, like you said earlier.
I'm pretty sure that like as soon as those photos of like sauropods were shown to the natives forever ago, they've just been holding on to that as like a sort of local, I guess, a local goof almost. Like they're playing along after a point.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime some guys show up to figure something out, so like anytime explorers come in to like look for it, they just play the part basically.
Yeah, but this what also resembles, and I can't think of it. It's like a dinosaur. It's a two-legged. It has these big claws, but it's a herbivore.
Man. Oh, are you trying to say the Therizinosaur?
I think so.
Yeah, that's the one that's actually also has a long neck, so
maybe that's what they're seeing.
I don't even think Therizinosaur was in this area back then. So that's I don't know about that.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to just see.
The sauropod dinosaur, complete with the bulky body, long neck and tail, and series of dermal spikes running the length of the neck, back, and tail. Additional information revealed that the animals also possessed an air sac, similar to a bullfrog, which enabled it to make loud, bellowing vocalizations.
Okay. Random, but all right.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like adding details that were not known as like actual things about sauropods makes it a little more credible, because that way it could just be something that resembles it.
Mm-hmm.
In November 2012, Bill Gibbons returned with a new crew and traveled over 100 kilometers north on the Jaw River to explore an area close to the Nki Falls.
I am Michel Ballot, cryptozoologist. I research Mokele-Mbembe and the water panther.
Yep.
And Doddy with Bill Gibbons and John Coe.
Wonderful.
That's a thick ass accent.
That's a really thick French.
Yeah. Again, Frenchmen go into the area to look for this thing. Why do the French want to find it so much?
I don't know why.
I'm definitely curious now. What are they cooking?
Where are the French? Are they making dinosaur escargot?
They're gonna bring it back and they're gonna actually cook it. Oh god.
My French teacher from my freshman year, he actually once with his brother made escargot, and he never wanted to do it again because you boil the snails alive.
Well, yeah, that's the you do it like basically every mollusk. I think you do the same with like other mollusk species like squid or
Yeah.
octopus. That is
Ooh.
fucked. I know we do with lobsters, but that's not
Ah.
a mollusk, so
No, I don't want to do that.
yeah, I don't like it. I could never do that.
This remote area is completely free from villages and human activity of any kind, thus providing a tranquil location for any Mokele-Mbembe.
What do you think Mokele-Mbembe is?
Well, that's a very good question. Over the years and conducting these expeditions, the descriptions have remained very consistent from the Congo and Central African Republic.
Well, score consistent.
Yeah, like they've been consistent after the first couple.
Hmm.
Because remember the first few were kind of weird, weren't they? Like they kind of went back and forth on various details about it.
I'm not sure. Like
I've
the
heard about
early
that.
ones, I don't know. We'd have to do a much more thorough analysis.
Yeah, I don't think we have time for that.
No, and you have to go soon, right?
I can stay until I could probably stay until like the end of the video.
All right, it's
Sorry
almost
to dip
over.
midway through, so I don't know. This was pretty fun though. I'm into
We'll have
this.
to do this again.
Yeah, if you're ever doing a cryptid one, hit me up. I'll probably be able to join.
Yeah, I do every Saturday. This.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see how people like this.
To Cameroon, and Mokele-Mbembe best resembles what we would imagine a small to medium-sized sauropod dinosaur would look like. And certainly everything we've learned about this animal, from its behavioral patterns to its preferred habitat, its food supply, all tells us that we could well be dealing with the last living dinosaur.
Would a living dinosaur, in fact, end evolution per se?
I don't think it would end evolution as such. I think it would certainly give evolutionists food for thought. A living dinosaur should be.
You wanted to?
No, back the I take a little issue with that one.
Per se.
Living dinosaur. Food supply all tells us that we could well be dealing with the last living dinosaur.
Right, let's hear what it
Would
says
a living
again.
dinosaur, in fact, end evolution per se?
I don't think it would.
Yeah.
This is like, no, it would not.
It definitely would not.
Yeah, no, like there's plenty of animals that just haven't changed that much throughout. Crocodiles haven't changed for like hundreds of millions of years.
There's also the coelacanth.
Coelacanth, they actually changed a little bit, but not notably. Horseshoe crabs have been damn near the same for 450 million years or so. Like animals sometimes just find something that works. Like it's just you have to tweak it over time, but and technically they're different species, but like it would not end of that just strikes me as like the guy he's talking to is like a little misinformed about this stuff, which is a bit of a red flag for someone you're asking to discover a new species. And let's see what the guy has to say. Let's just
end evolution as such. I think it would certainly give evolutionists food for thought. A living dinosaur should be exciting to any scientist, regardless of whether they're evolutionists or creationists. And I believe that this would give them an exciting opportunity to branch into a new area of science, paleozoology.
Paleo. That's just technically that's just part of zoology. We're not really okay. Yes, dinosaurs are classified under something different, but like that's still under the animal. That's still under like the animal studies tree. I don't know what he's talking about. Is he? I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to say. I don't know what it has to do with anything.
I don't. I just want to say that. I don't. I think that was kind of a stupid question, though.
That was a really dumb question. That was like very. That comes off as very I guess sensational. Like will this species destroy our concept of evolution? Like, I don't know.
I don't think it would.
It would not. It really wouldn't.
I don't even think it would destroy creation.
What do you mean by that?
I just think that
Like,
I think that if there would be people would be stunned if we did find one a living.
well, I know I would.
I mean, even me who wants to believe it would be some like, oh my god, holy
Everyone
crap
would
that you
be
found
like,
it.
Yeah, no, I know I'm a very skeptical person,
I
but
know,
you know what? A little part of me wants it to be real. I'm just not gonna let that part of me like override my sense of logic and like general sense
definitely.
of like what I understand to be true and not, or like, I don't know, that's not the right word. I want to believe, but what I'm told leads me to think it's not real. That's I guess what I want to say. 'Cause
Which
I
is
feel that way with a lot of
unfortunate.
cryptids.
Which would be unfortunate because that would give us a good chance to study dinosaurs.
Well, yes, but at the same time, it's not the same thing. Like, if it exists in its current form, Mokele-Mbembe, we're still accounting for millions of years of evolution having
Mhm.
passed. It's a third of the size. It may have claws. It might do things that we didn't even think that sauropods almost certainly didn't do, like burrowing. So like it'll be interesting and give some insight. But at the end of the day, it will not be a substitution for the many questions we have about actual dinosaurs.
It might actually bring up more questions.
On God, it might.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine going to like a paleontology conference, like someone bringing evidence about Mokele-Mbembe, like, because this species burrows, I have reason to believe that all sauropods
Definitely not.
burrowed and lived in watery areas. Like, no, we used to think sauropods lived in like river areas. Most of them didn't, but some of them do. But could you imagine the freaking arguments that would bring up? This would confuse the hell out of a lot of people.
This would.
I mean, I want to believe, but I do not.
All right, let's continue.
Yeah.
But they would have a living dinosaur to discover rather than just the dry fossilized bones. But I also believe, in a nutshell, that this would also give evolutionists now the task of basically trying to determine why some dinosaurs survived while others went extinct.
Oh
During
my
their
God.
exploration of
The answer to that is evolution.
Yes.
The answer to that is why did mammals survive? Evolutionarily, they evolved to burrow. Being small and underground means you didn't get affected by the atmosphere catching fire during the meteor.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were small generalists. That's the way they were able to survive all this. The
Definitely.
same, yeah, like the reason, why did a sauropod species survive? Oh, well, it's smaller and lived in more watery areas. It was able to kind of hide out there for a while.
Oh.
Like, yeah, there you go. That the answer is evolution. The question isn't evolution. The answer is.
of the area.
I'm
The team
getting
split
like fired up by some of this, bro. Why is this bothering me so much?
I like it though. I like it.
It's fun. It's fun.
It's fun. You know, William Gibbons, he's still active, by the way.
I have many questions for him now.
You know what? If I can get into contact, that will
Oh
be
man, imagine if we got William Gibbons on this show.
having a debate with him.
Yeah, like, yeah, welcome to our show. We're gonna debate with. Oh god, that would be crazy.
Yeah,
That would be absolutely insane, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
split
let's
up,
see the rest
leaving
of this.
Gibbons and Kirk at the camp to observe the river from there.
We're standing on the banks of the River Jar. We're approximately 96 kilometers from the nearest settlement in Ndongo, where the World Wildlife Fund maintains a facility.
The two men suddenly heard three distinct roars coming from the river in the south. The thick foliage prevented the explorers from observing the creature that was making the loud vocalizations. Upon the third roar, the noise of the outboard engine of the expedition canoe returning to the camp caused the animal to retreat from the area.
What?
Is that the noise?
Yeah.
they play?
It was
I
Oh,
don't
they're
know.
mimicking it. They're mimicking it. Okay, let's hear it.
Could be. Because remember somebody said it makes a noise like, on a dit que le bruit est comme...
Yes, it was Mokele-Mbembe.
Exactement.
In the river,
In the river.
it was Mokele-Mbembe.
The question
I like how he says it though. Itral.
Oh yeah, the French guy.
Yeah.
Twas Mokele-Mbembe.
Remains. Why has no one succeeded in photographing or filming a Mokele-Mbembe? The vastness of the area, the difficulty of the terrain, the semi-aquatic habits of the animal, the fear that it imparts among the local tribespeople, as well as the limited amount of time and funding that is available to explorers, all contribute to this daunting task. However, Gibbons and his American colleagues have now established beyond all doubt that Mokele-Mbembe is not only a living creature, but our most...
You haven't done that yet.
How did they? No, you didn't establish that. No,
You haven't.
you found a hole in the mud, a footprint, possible claw marks, and heard what, I'm gonna be real, sounded like a foghorn. And you say, it's real animal now, we understand this. No, you didn't find it. You found evidence, and you need to iterate on that and work with it. Consider all possible. This is proof of my issue with a lot of cryptozoology. This is
Definitely.
the confirmation bias incarnate right here. Like, I am bothered now.
Hmm.
This is confirmation bias right there. I mean, maybe I have some by being skeptical, but I haven't seen anything of like real evidence yet.
Like with Bigfoot or with Dogman.
I mean, I'll give some credit to Bigfoot. That one footage, like the
Patterson.
what's that? Patterson footage. Thank you. Yeah, that's pretty convincing.
Like
I don't know if that's true or not. I'm still skeptical, but that was a pretty good bit of evidence right there.
And it's hard to replicate. That's
Yeah,
another
no,
thing.
I've seen like people tried recreating it. Like, I think someone took the footage to like an anatomist, and they said that like it's unlikely to have been a suit because the musculature looked so realistic just from what they could tell.
Yeah.
But like again, there is still some evidence. Like the guy who filmed it seemed to be very interested in the idea of Bigfoot, and he may or may not just. I think he forged other evidence, so he's kind of being brought into question. But still, like that footage, there's a reason we still talk about it. That's very convincing footage.
Yeah, and Roger Patterson took a lie detector test about the footage and passed it.
I mean, admittingly, lie detectors are not perfect.
They
But still,
definitely.
yeah, there's a lot of evidence. There's a reason Bigfoot is so like talked about.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical of him because I think we would have seen him by now in like much better footage. But that initial footage is very convincing. I will never take that away from Patterson.
Yeah, and the Patterson, apparently the Sasquatch they caught in that was a female. You know about that?
Yeah, because it got titties, right?
Yeah, you could see the tit.
I did not mean to say that, but I said it.
What's her at?
What's her... Give me her DM. Hit me up with her DMs. I'm gonna go talk to that one.
The Jaw River in Cameroon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they did not prove anything yet. We don't know if this is a thing
the
or
upper
not.
reaches of the Jaw,
Don't act like you.
which is remote and almost completely void of all human activity, is where some of the animals have retreated. The race is now on to return to this location and finally secure the film and photographic evidence that will silence the critics and the hardline evolutionists once and for all, while providing powerful
Back up.
Yeah.
What do you mean
Return to this
hardline
location.
evolutionists?
That's a very good question.
That's a real red flag. Do these guys not believe evolution?
I'm not sure.
Because that's a real red flag for. I mean, obviously, yeah, you could say evolution is still a theory, but we've got so much proof of it at this point that like it's generally accepted as a theory, as an idea.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say any theories above criticism.
And finally,
I just feel that this is like a
photographic
evidence
that will
video.
silence the critics and the hardline evolutionists once and for all, while providing powerful evidence for a young Earth and special creation.
Wait, what? Wait.
I think this is a young Earth.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Makes sense why he said that.
Yeah, that explains it. But like, why is let's just finish the video. I'll say my thoughts
Let's at last film a specimen of Mokele-Mbembe, the ultimate living fossil.
This is
oh, there it is. Creation Film Productions. It is creationism.
Yes.
Okay then. Okay.
I do like the soundtrack,
I was actually gonna say I love a lot of the music throughout this.
and also the narrator.
The-
You know who the great um Sterling Hayden was? He was a actor.
I've never heard of him.
Oh, he was in The Godfather. Doctor Strangelove.
Was he the narrator for this?
No, it sounds like him.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. So I have some time before I go. I have some more time. Might as well let's do a little review of that at the end. Like, what are your thoughts generally?
What are my thoughts? It's
Yeah.
fascinating, but we need more evidence.
I could not agree more, and I think with this documentary specifically, I was on board for a fair amount of it. Like, I was listening, I was hearing them out, I was critical, I was skeptical, but I don't know, something about the inclusion of young Earth creationism at the very end. Time to get a little predictive. I I I don't want to say anything too strong. All I will say is I do think the Earth was made uh, the way modern science believes it. Do I think that this proves the existence of God? No. Do I think God exists? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm leaning towards a little bit yes, but I'm still thinking about that because I'm young, I'm figuring stuff out. I'll admit that.
That's how usually it happens.
Yeah. I'm questioning. I am a curious individual. Yeah, I'm not acting like I have the answer.
No one does.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
on the
like,
topic of Mokele-Mbembe,
yeah, like back to that. Sorry about that.
no,
I
it's
think
good.
it's almost disingenuous to use Mokele-Mbembe as evidence of a young Earth because, like, I don't know. I've seen this a lot. These people like this use living fossils as proof of, oh, the Earth is actually evolution doesn't exist, blah blah blah, a lot. When it's still like it doesn't prove anything.
We
It
need
just
a
means
lot
the
more
animal's been
evidence.
like, yeah, it just means the animal is like comfortable in its niche. It means that they don't have to change too much to do what they're doing. It doesn't just because just because a horseshoe crab is the same as it used to be doesn't mean that animals on Earth are not in a constant struggle to like iterate on their own abilities and like one up their competition and stuff. It doesn't disprove anything. It just I don't know, I was on board until they started going on that. Like I was willing to believe in it. I'm willing to believe that there's something out there in the Congo.
There,
I think it's hard to hide a giant ass elephant-sized dinosaur, but
yeah,
I
but who
just
knows?
I think this comes off as much more biased now with that knowledge. Like they were doing this to prove a point. They were looking for something. This is confirmation bias.
Definitely,
You need a neutral third party to do it.
definitely.
They should not have been the ones to like talk about this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't get someone who's too hard lined on really either side. And a lot of the best scientific minds were curious about both sides of the argument of science versus creation, you know? We need to get people like that to just told for Mokele-Mbembe.
I just saw. Oh, so the guy who Joe Rogan interviewed on that one episode of his show, David Show, something just popped up in my recommended of he did an interview with Steve-O from Jackass.
Oh, that guy. What about him?
Yeah. David Cho, he was. You just have to watch the Joe Rogan. Let me actually send it to you.
Yeah, no, send it through my Discord. You have that.
Yeah, I think I sent it to you one.
I probably forgot about it though. I'm gonna be honest.
I'll
check it out
to you
in a few, but I'm gonna head
go.
out. Again, sorry, I'm leaving in like the middle of the stream.
No, it's okay.
But I'm just glad I got to get my piece in. Do you have any
great.
thoughts on Do you have any more thoughts on this whole thing before I go? Because I want to know your side.
Well, my side is I think that there's a lot of evidence on both sides. We just need that concrete evidence that tilts it.
Yeah.
Like it's a 50-50.
Honestly, I'm going to be completely honest. I do think that a lot of the evidence that they've presented is a little flimsy. Most of it seems to have come from just essentially the sightings are, yeah, there were sightings, but most of these stories come from people that they just met in the Congo. Like it's all a bunch of locals telling them stories, and then those stories being told to other people. It's a lot of he said, she said, and I
And
don't think that's very convincing.
I think, and I know
And
there's probably got people who come in after and are going to try and also roll that the Dogman stories I've covered on my show. That would mean that's false. I'm gonna say, if you ever subscribe to Dogman Encounters and listen to those eyewitnesses, they sound very credible.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm just skeptical of all eyewitness credible stories because a lot of people have a lot of reasons to lie, unfortunately.
It's
So
unfortunate.
I'm skeptical of all of that. But I don't know. I feel like like I've been saying, I feel like there is some incentive for these like locals to lie about this. It's essentially free publicity from curious guys just coming in looking for a dinosaur. Like
That
just tell
and
them
it
what they
attracts
want to hear, you know?
tourism.
Like, I get that. I don't know. It just
All right.
yeah, yeah. That's my remarks. I'm gonna head out now. Good luck with the rest of this.
I
I'll
will.
probably watch the playback when it's recorded on YouTube.
We'll do.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
See you, man.
All right. That was my friend Justin. You can check him out. I think that was very good. Obviously, we've got lots more to talk. We still, and I would play the Joe Rogan, but unfortunately, he's very harsh. Like Jeremy had his most recent Cobra cast, his emergency Cobra cast that had where Jarun had Patrick Bet David on his podcast. He had that taken down. Though I don't think it was for the Joe Rogan, it was for the other video, if you know what I mean. I'm sure you'll find out. But I think we had a great show, and honestly, that was a very obviously I'm a Christian. Justin, his family's Catholic, but he's obviously into paleontology. There'd be something that and I let's see. I want to play this Monster Quest episode, but I I don't know. I don't know if I'll get copyright hit. Let's see. Hmm. Because I don't really have a live audience. Just gonna assume no. I don't know. I'm debating. Or may I just end it right there? Because I don't know. Another thing I show is a ledge recording. Like, it's hard. Because I am pretty big on, well, I am into evolution. I think it's fascinating. I am also, I do believe God created. I don't know. I'm just looking at Twitter because Harry Kane's now at Bayern. Are they playing now? Oh, they're losing. They're getting. Oh, man. First game for Harry Kane, and he's losing. Oh. No. Oh my God. There's no way. This shit is. No way. Nah. Nah. No, bruh. I know that we're usually very much into cryptozoology, and we just did the whole thing on the Mokele-Mbembe ban. I want to talk more about more cryptids up, but this looks like we're gonna have a shorter one. Let me just say, I think one of the great mysteries is Harry Kane appears to be allergic to. Let me get this. Winning trophy. First game, Bayern lose 3-0. Like, what the heck? All right, let's actually do a little bit of Yeah, this is really hard because usually an Apatosaurus, because even an Apatosaurus is a little too big. Either they're juveniles or I have no idea what's going on. But let's get see what this thing.
Language is a neo-dinosaurian cryptid.
This is co-author of. I'm not sure. This could be for something because I did see on my when I searched this Mokele-Mbembe that there was like some sort of comic like move
Said to inhabit the Congolese.
I don't know. Like I literally don't know.
Forests and swamps. Also known as Chipekwe, this animal is often described as a ceratopsian dinosaur with a large horn on its.
I'm actually kind of thinking that we had a good stream. I think it's a good place to end it. Usually these would be longer, but saying as I'm not reading Dogman's stories, we pretty much finished it. Or, I did say that next week I might read. So I might just do that. I might read. Because last week I remember I do a little reading of some from Canada. Or should I save that for next week? All right. If you want me to do it next week, or may I take time out of my week schedule and do some reading of Dogman stories, or maybe I should do it next Saturday, because this is just one episode. I think I'm actually going to end it here. We had a good day. We had some good arguments. We had a lot going on. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.